afternoon, you guys. Welcome back to another vlog. I hope everyone is doing good. I haven't been on camera in a minute, and I am actually editing a vlog that I'll try to have up this weekend. I had mentioned in the last vlog, or the vlog that I'll be uploading, that I am going to be changing the color of my front door to black. Our shutters are black, but our front door is like a brick red color. And I'm over it because I also want to, do the reefs on the door. I do like the idea of being able to kind of change that out. It's more welcoming, although I've seen centers and everybody ain't welcome. We don't have a lot of house guests anyway, but I do like the reef on the door. So doing that probably next weekend. So I'll be sure to post because I need some throw pillows. I tried to find some cushion covers for our patio chairs. I have some rockers out in the front, actually 3 in the front, and then I put 1 in the back deck. Nobody really sits on it every now and then, but honestly, I had not been able to really find what I was looking for in the size that I needed. So I may have to go out to like Home Depot or Lowe's and see what they have, or even I can only think of a Lowe's or a Home Depot because they are like a light gray. But if I can't find anything, I think I'll just stick with what I have and just swap out not insert pillows, but decor pillows, if you will. Also need another mat for the front door, so I'm on the lookout for that as well, and then I'll decide what I'm going with. So that's what I got going on now. Just need to fluff the pillows and all that good stuff. And then I didn't end up having to cook dinner yesterday, which was awesome. We go to a restaurant that is bomb when we do get it. We hadn't had it in a while. It's Haitian food, and so we got that. I believe we got enough for leftovers tonight because honestly, I don't know what I'm cooking. I've been wanting to do like some beans and rice and cornbread, so maybe I'll do that this weekend. It's Friday, thank goodness it is Friday. I'm so glad I'm over this week. But yeah, other than that, just popping on to say hello. One thing I need to figure out too is the cabinets above my microwave are like yellowed, I guess from cooking and like the steam and grease going up. I can see the discoloration even from here. I need to figure out a way to clean that properly, so that is probably something that I'll be doing tomorrow. See if I can get some of that discoloration off because I hate it. See, this is the reef that I have right now. I put it up there just to see what it would look like, but I'm changing this. So that's not gonna stay that color. As you can see, my shutters are black. So I wanna make sure that the door is black. I'm gonna keep the trim the same though, but change the door. See my little reef? This is the first reef I've ever gotten, and I bet you I can make those. The birds are chirping. Hopefully they will stay wherever they chirping at and won't set up shop on the porch. Good afternoon, you guys. It is late Sunday. Yeah, always gonna be late for me. I don't guess it's late, but it definitely ain't early. It's after 2 o'clock already, and I'm headed to my mom's so that we can go to do a little groceries, and she wants to go back to Joann Fabrics. I don't really think I need anything from there this week, and this could be my last opportunity, I guess, but I will be able to look around just to see. I wasn't looking for anything in particular per se, but she still needs to go by their store and see what she can see. So I'm gonna run and do those 2 things, and then I'm gonna come home. I want to meal prep this week, so I'm gonna do that. I don't care how late it is because we late hours anyway. but I want to prepare my meals out because I gotta get all my stuff. So that is the plan. That is the plan. So I hope you guys had a good week. I was watching some of the commentary on Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, in the whole draft debacle. And one girl brought out a really great point, and it made me think about how that plays out in so many other aspects of Black people's lives. I would say especially Black women, because we get stereotyped as angry, you know, confrontational when we're just being honest and straightforward. And she brought out that they were basically trying to humble him. They were basically trying to humble him. Like the NFL and the NBA and all these, sport teams, they really get a kick out of being able to tell the story of pulling a poor single mother, troubled neighborhood Black kid out of poverty by giving them a shot in the NBA or the NFL or whatever other place where we excel and dominate. And she brought that out, and it was such a good point as to describe what actually happened. They were trying to humble him. They were trying to humble him. Oh, he's too cocky. Let's bring him down a notch. Oh, he thinks he's too smart. He's too good. He's too confident. Let's bring him down a notch. And that is something that happens to us on a daily basis. Now, I know that white people get irritated with the fact that Black people seemingly always bring up race, but it's hard for us to not live in that moment of every moment of our lives, right? Because there are so many things that are intertwined, it doesn't affect them, right? So if it doesn't affect them, then they can't really comprehend what it means or what it feels like to deal with some of the things that we deal with that are, deeply rooted in the fact that there's a difference between us and non-Black people. Like that we get treated differently than non-Black people, right? It is just what it is. Like, no, we don't want it to be that way. No, we wish that we could not ever have to think about it, but we don't have the luxury of not thinking about it every single day in some way, shape, or form, whether it affects us directly or indirectly. So I bring that up to say that I recently had my employer, have a conversation with me about a few customers that he said complained about, my attitude and, pretty much just my attitude. And to me, that's so layered, and it sucks because I couldn't really say to him what I really wanted to say in a way that he would really understand it. And I felt in that moment that he really, for the sake of the customer who complained, because I don't feel like it, I think it was 2 or 3, if that. For the most part, I go out of my way for my customers. I really do. But I do have a couple of customers that have just decided that they don't want to deal with me because I either asked them too many questions, I didn't get back to them as quickly as they wanted me to, or I flat out told them something that they did not want to hear. They didn't get the answer that they wanted, and they interpret that as being rude or, disagreeable or whatever the case may be. And that's really, to me, I feel like, the ones that had that to say about me, and even being called to the carpet, so to speak, to discuss it, was a way of trying to humble me. You know what I mean? And, I am not a person who doesn't take constructive criticism. I had definitely, took it as a way for me to just bring it to the forefront of my mind that maybe if I'm, I don't know, if I'm, just the way that I may say something, I have to think about the way that I say it because it may come across as something that is not intended for it to come off as. And I think that in itself is a way that Black people are like monitoring themselves on a 24/7 basis. We don't have the luxury of not policing ourselves, right? You get in the car, you're driving, the police get behind you, you're like, hands on the steering wheel, look forward, make sure that I'm using my signals. There's just so many things that we do that we are constantly policing ourselves, checking ourselves, mentally checking ourselves all the time. And I felt like I couldn't really tell him or express that to him in the moment because he just would not have been able to understand it, right? So yeah, it's interesting when you see how many people expect us to be humbled all the time in order to make them comfortable, right? And it's crazy. But I feel like that really in the workplace a lot of times because there are some customers that I have that I can be candid with and explain things to them, and they really do understand it. There are others that, we have a lot of customers that are not from this country. They're from countries where men are dominant, women, they don't take authority from a women well. A lot of times those customers don't like to deal with women, especially Black women. Um, I don't know, our tone, our demeanor, I don't know. Something about it is being straightforward and being honest is taken as or considered as being rude. I know I'm not the only one, um, those of us in the work field. Um, and then you also have some customers that just are not going to, if you have one bad interaction with them, they're never gonna let you live it down. And I feel like I have that with one customer. And the customer, but to me, what the issue is with this particular customer, because I don't even deal with him. I don't remember ever having a real conversation with him that could have been misconstrued as me being rude to him. I've dealt with his wife a few times, and even with her, I've not been rude, but I've asked questions that maybe the people in the office that they dealt with didn't ask. And that's a really big pet peeve of mine. Like, I hate to call a place and get customer service on the line, and I could talk to five people and get five different responses. Like, I really feel like companies that do customer service related work should all be on the same page. They should not get my coworker telling them they can do or can't do one thing, and then they get me and they're getting this roadblock of, no, we cannot do that. And I feel like with that specific customer, that's pretty much what it is with him. Um, I'm asking questions that the other two people he was dealing with prior to really dealing with me were not. Or he'll call and request something from them specifically, and they'll send it to me for me to handle it. Oftentimes not even telling them, hey, this person is going to be who gets in contact with you about whatever it is that you're asking for. So then when they get me and I'm underwriting them in my questioning, they feel like I'm giving them a hard time. And it's like, I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm doing what we should be doing as opposed to someone else who's giving you a break, or they know your circumstance, or they're taking this information from you at the behest of your child, your grown adult child. But say, for instance, the customer calls and their adult child, has a policy with us. We have a few customers that'll call and be like, oh, I need to switch this vehicle for that vehicle on their child's policy. Well, if I don't know them and don't know the circumstance, you as a parent, as a non-owner of a policy, don't have the authority to make changes on someone else's policy, whether it's your child or not, right? Especially if I've never spoken to that child and gotten exclusive permission that I could take policy changes from, said parent, you're going to get a little bit of pushback from me because, one, I don't know what the situation is with the dynamic in your household as far as if your child says that's okay or not. I'm trying to make sure that I'm protecting myself so that if something does happen and I have to answer for it, they at least know why I took this information from this parent, because that parent does not have ownership of that policy. Does that make sense? So again, me trying to handle it by the book because I'm looking beyond just the request that's being made. I'm looking at if this were to come back on our office as to why we did X, Y, and Z. When I'm signing my name on something, when my signature is legally binding, I want to make sure I understand what the situation is and what the circumstances is. I want to be able to answer for why I did what I did. And that's, in my opinion, a lot of why these specific customers have had issue with me. So anyway, I digress. For the most part, like I said, I like my working situation. I like being able to work from home. I love the work that I do because it's always different. And I really enjoy being able to go over and beyond for the customer, and it ends up in a really good outcome. But at the end of the day, there are some people that are just not going to be happy no matter what you say, no matter what you do, because they're just not going to be happy, you know? They're always going to be able to find issue with something because, you know, they want what they want when they want it, how they want it. The Shedeur Sanders situation to me really was a blatant way of trying to humble him because he is not the stereotypical I need you. He wants to play ball because he loves ball, not because he needs it, not because he had lack. Not saying that all of the, you know, brothers that make it into professional sports are just lacking in, you know, father figures and, you know, great households. You know, I'm not saying that at all. But when that is the norm, almost, like it's more likely that a lot of these young men are going to be in a single parent household or come from poverty, most of them. I would say a majority of them. It's a bigger percentage than it is not. I'll say that. There's a humbling, like that movie that Sandra Bullock was in. I forget the name of it. And then come to find out years later that that wasn't even true. It was crazy. Oh my goodness, crazy. There are some non-black people that want to be the hero and, you know, be able to take credit for someone else's success, right? So I think that situation is really crazy, and I'm not really into sports like that, but I've heard a lot of the chatter online about, you know, having him be such a top tier player and, oh, his attitude is this. Like, they use whatever they can to say that we're ghetto or we're loud or we're obnoxious or we're uneducated or we're undeserving or we were this or we were that. That it is literally nauseating. It's nauseating. So even if it's not happening to you directly, there's enough stories out there for you to really, really get the gist of what it's like for us all over the world, really, all over the world. There's a double standard. It's hypocrisy. It's just, it's ingrained in the DNA. It's ingrained in their DNA to be that way. And we can explain it with the most eloquence, with the most, you know, references that you can possibly give. And a person who's not going to get it is simply not going to get it regardless. So anyway, that was my car rant. I will talk to you guys when we get where we're going. Bye now. really wasn't much to show at Joann Fabrics. They are pretty much completely wiped out. I mean, there. I did get some tubing that I want to use for a DIY. And then we went over to Sam's Club. And when I tell you, pandemonium, because apparently EBT is down nationwide. So people are leaving their carts, abandoning them, arguing in some places. I heard. I didn't get to see, really a lot of videos on it, but I did see one TikTok video where a lady was saying that it is down nationwide. And what? Y'all, why is the government playing with people like that? Shameful, shameful, shameful. Anyway, we are on our way to pick Cam up from home so we can drop him off at work. And then I still need to go to like Publix or Kroger because of course you can't get everything at one spot. So especially if you don't need as much as what you're trying to get, just need it in a smaller quantity. So I'm gonna head over to probably Kroger after I drop Camden off and get some olive oil and some other odds and ends that we need before we get home. So if you guys don't see me pick up this camera again, I will pick it up either when we get home or I will pick you guys up tomorrow.